Alrighty, we are coming at you for episode 3 of the Sports Card Advantage podcast. I am Jeff. This is Bunk. How's everything going today, Bunk?
What's up, sir? Nice warm day today for a change.
Yeah,
good.
guy. Hit a little golf balls today. Finally got out and about. A little bit of normalcy. Had some lunch out with some friends. Hit some golf balls and got a little sun.
Nice guy. You went out?
Yeah, guy. And just for everybody's knowledge, this is being recorded on March 11th. So any of the facts, figures, statistics, and prices are current as of March 11th at 8:50 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All right, we're going to hop in and talk about our topic of the day, which is, are influencers ruining the hobby? And when we say influencers, I'm talking about your Gary V's, I'm talking about your Darren Rovell's, I'm talking about your Bill Simmons, your Mark Wahlbergs, your Steve Aoki's, all these guys, Logan Paul, all these guys that have major social media followings that are talking about certain cards, that are, opening boxes, that are talking about their collections, what they're collecting, what they're buying. I know you have a love-hate with Gary V, guy, so why don't you get us started here as far as your opinions on whether or not influencers are ruining the hobby?
No, I mean, my gut reaction at first when the hobby started blowing up a little bit was I hate it. I absolutely hate this. And then now I take a step back and I look at how many more new people are in there, how many more new things are coming out, how many more people are coming back to the hobby or brand new to the hobby. There's so many more people to trade with, so many more people to sell cards to, so many more relationships I've made in the hobby because of people who came back because of these influencers. So yes, I am 100% on the record. I was against it all at first, but I'm pretty much on board with it now. It's nothing but a help.
I believe you called Gary V a weenie, just to put that on record, just saying.
Yeah. Show me where.
I'll have to dig back through some GroupMe chats, but I believe the words were Gary V's a weenie. But, I mean, the only thing that I can think of as far as people not liking them, bringing the attention, is they can't get the cards that they want for the price that they want. And, because now obviously everything's inflated. There's so much more demand, so many more people buying. So your hardcore old school guys that have been around in the markets for 5, 10, 15, 20 years, 50 years, whatever it is, are pissed off because
no doubt they're priced out.
Yeah, they're priced out. Rookie cards, other things that they used to be able to get for affordable prices are now 10x, 20x, 30x. So I'm going to make a statement right now that, I feel it is something that needs to be considered. And, I think the hobby is dead. And when I say the hobby is dead, I mean, and I'm not talking about the fucking Momo in Vegas and the comments he made about the hobby. I'm talking about using the word hobby for this industry. This is no longer a hobby. This is no longer I'm collecting for fun and I'm putting fucking cards in my bike spokes like it was 1965 to make it sound like a motorcycle, or like your kids throwing cards. This is now a business. This is now a big business. It's now an industry. It's not a hobby. So people that are looking to keep it pure like a hobby, it's over. That time is dead.
Disagree.
It's gone.
I get what you're saying on that side of the fence, but there is a large population that is going to refuse to conform to that. They'll still find ways, and there's still opportunities to be a hobby, and they'll find their own niche in whatever manner they can. But I totally disagree with that.
Guy, the hobby is dead. It's buried. It's business now. It's all business now.
I completely get that side of it, but there's still plenty of people that aren't gonna. They just shut you off.
Yeah, that's fine. You mean you can not conform, but at the same time you're gonna get priced out because the marketplace is going to dictate what the prices are. It's gonna tell you what's happening.
I agree, and I consider myself old school, and there's a lot of stuff I don't like about the new hobby things coming up, but I've adapted a bit. I've had to conform somewhat. There's still some things I just refuse, but
you don't have a choice because, as far as where you're getting cards and how you're getting cards and what you're paying for cards and how cards are getting valued, fucking the Beckett magazine from when you were 12 is worthless at this point. I mean, prices are changing so fast. I mean, it's different. And that's the whole thing. The hobby, you can't use the word hobby anymore. It's business now. I mean, that's what this is. If you want, unless you're collecting for PC and you don't care how much you pay for cards because you have to have that player, like, you with Jeter. It's like if there's a Jeter card you really want, you'll go get it. You'll pay whatever it is. You don't care the value. That's a hobby. It's the same with guys with cars. But if you're looking to be in this casually, it's a business. You're flipping, you're investing, you're looking to make money out of it. It's business. It's not a hobby anymore. And I mean, the Jeter cards that you wanted that you could have bought 3 years ago.
I probably wouldn't even touch them.
Yeah, now they're 25 times the price and you can't afford them.
But that doesn't mean people are going to just leave.
No, I don't think they're just going to leave. But at the same time, I just think that as using the word hobby is not, this isn't model planes and fucking building a train set. Like, that's a hobby. Like, this shit is now big
I think
business.
as long as people are collecting, no matter how they figure out how to do it in today's hobby, yeah, I think it's gonna be called the hobby.
I don't know, guys.
But I definitely hear your side. It's big business now.
Yeah.
I get it. We'll get it.
We'll get a poll up at some point on social media whether or not the hobby is dead. But I'm a firm believer that
it's gonna be 75-25 that it's alive. Mark my words.
People are still. Yeah, but how many people are only just for PC at this point? How many people are just out for their personal collection?
Agreed. There's a larger percent of the population that are in it, and the only thing they're thinking about is, what can I sell this for soon? What can I sell this for later? And that's all they're thinking about. I get it.
Yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. At the very least, you have to admit that it's now a hybrid. It's not pure hobby anymore. I mean, because even you, who have been in this as a hobby for the better part of your life, you now are buying cards, flipping cards, doing whatever, so you can make money to be able to afford to buy the cards you want.
Buying more cards. Yeah. That's not a hobby, though?
It's business. I mean, it's the same as if you're flipping other things to make money to buy other stuff that you want. That's called a business, dude.
I'm recycling it. I'm recycling it in baseball cards.
Yeah. I don't think they're celebrating for you on Earth Day. So I don't know. We'll get a poll up. We'll see what everybody thinks as far as whether or not the word hobby should be used for this anymore, and whether or not the hobby is dead. And this is, but I don't know. As social media becomes more and more a part of this, and more people are doing this, I mean, breakers are what built this surge, and that's a business. This isn't, it's fun, but it's a like a casino. I mean, it's a business. You don't play blackjack as a hobby. It's money. Anyway, we'll move on. We'll get the poll up. You guys can vote. Tell us what you think.
Check that poll out.
Yeah, exactly. We'll move on to our investment. Our investment in the lottery tickets today is going to be all you. I've done a few of these for the last couple episodes, but today's all you. So let's we're going to talk baseball. We got baseball first pitch in 3 weeks or so. So the next two segments, our investment of the day and our lottery ticket, are both baseball. So why don't you get us going here with our investment of the day?
Yeah, I was looking around. I as much as I hate to admit it because he's a Red Sox, but Rafael Devers is a stud. He is an absolute stud. Now, listen, his rookie autos and his Bowman first autos graded, they're pricey. So if you got that kind of dough, I think there's plenty of room going up on Rafael Devers. But where I was looking today, where if I was going to get in on Rafael Devers, looking for maybe for short and long plays here, is his 2014 Bowman draft first Bowman card. For
those of you that are watching at home and not just listening, we have the Rafael Devers 2014 Bowman card on the screen as far as what Bunk is referring to.
He got $40 to $50 a paper base or a chrome for under 100 is a great buy right now on Devers.
And he had a little bit of did he have a down season last year for COVID, like during the COVID season? And I mean, is this another situation similar to like Alonso that we talked about last time? A little bit of a down season during COVID, and he hits a couple home runs and those cards will pop.
Yeah, I like his 2019 was off. It was insane. So yeah, anything was a down season compared to 2019. But I'm throwing 2020 out the window on most of these guys. I don't necessarily think he's down because of that. I think that he's down because of the seasonality and you know, you should have been buying in January, but we're getting there's still time here. But no, I don't think 2020 is an issue. I think he's gonna have a big time season. Now the only bad thing here is Boston's probably gonna be terrible. So that's something else to factor in when you're looking at some of these short plays. You're looking to buy a guy on a team that's terrible. You're gonna have a few less eyeballs.
Yeah, absolutely. They lost Betts, they lost some pitching, and they are definitely going to be at the middle of the AL East at best.
Works for me.
Well, as a Yankee fan, I'm sure you're not unhappy about Boston being not in contention with you guys.
Not at all, but Devers can hit. I like watching him.
Yeah, absolutely.
And then jumping over to our lotto investment, I was thinking about this. I was trying to just think off the top of my head, guys that I've had cards of. We all have the boxes of Bowman and Bowman draft cards from breaks, and then we look at it 3 years later. I'm like, I got 4 of these guys, and he's finally made it. So I was trying to think of guys like that, and I came across Yasniel Diaz. If you remember, he was part of the Manny Machado deal. Went from the Dodgers to the Orioles.
You want to spell that for the people at home?
Yusniel.
All right, let's see if we can pick up some of his cards that are on eBay. Which card are you talking about for today?
I'm all over the 2017 first Bowman.
2017
Bowman Chrome. It's Bowman Chrome. Bowman Chrome PSA 10 and paper bases can be had for under $25. PSA 10. Autos are creeping up. They're getting closer to the $100-$120 range. Yeah. I mean, some of the recent sales on the autos have been upwards over 100. But like I said, his base paper and his base chromes are highly affordable. And again, if you're looking for that possibility to five times or better, he's a good candidate. So Orioles there's gonna be playing time. I'm getting in at the cheapest PSA 10 paper base I can find, and if he gets hot or he gets called up and takes off a bit, it's gonna do its thing.
All right, fantastic. I just tried to throw an offer in for $65 and it was rejected. So we'll see what we can do, and we'll keep an eye. We'll add this to the watch list and keep an eye on it and see if we can snag it for $80.
Low baller.
I mean, why pay full price? And that actually leads us perfectly into our next segment.
I set you up for the dunk.
Exactly. Throwing the alley-oop here like it's the backyard when we were 15 years old. No. So let's get into our 101 category. We're going to talk eBay tips. And, some of the things that you should be looking at when you're shopping on eBay. So I have eBay up right now. I threw in a simple search of just PSA 10. There are just some fantastic examples of what you should be aware of and what you should be careful of when you're shopping on eBay, especially when you're looking for graded cards. A lot of times, we'll just scroll through what's available. A lot of times you will find ungraded cards that people are suggesting, quote unquote, that are PSA 10s. And, you always want to stay away from that. They're just putting that in there for the search term. That is basically, anything that says PSA or BGS in the search term and the card is not graded, do not assume that the person that put the listing up has any idea how that card is going to grade. So don't assume that if somebody says PSA 10 that it's going to grade PSA 10. If it's a raw card, do your comps as if it's a raw card. Do not assume anything as far as the grade. The other big thing, we have a card up right now. It's a 2018 Panini Prism World Cup Soccer Lionel Messi. I mean, this is literally just in the search that we pulled up. The or best offer is something that you have to be very aware of as well. A lot of times newbies will get on eBay, see a card listed for $1,100 and say, I'm going to lowball this guy. Let me offer him $400, $500. It's half price. Maybe he'll take it. And a lot of
What's
time,
the card worth? $100?
Yeah, I mean the card's definitely not worth $1,100. That's for sure. I have no idea what the card's worth, but when people throw out their low ball offers, thinking that you're going to get a deal at half price of what it's listed at, a lot of times the card's worth, this card could be worth $200 and $300.
Auto accepted.
Yeah, and then as soon as you hit that submit button with your offer, the person on the other end can't hit accept fast enough. They say, thank you very much, and you just got suckered. And that's when you look at comps on some of these sites like 130 Point and you see best offer accepted and it's 2 to 3x what the card is worth. That's usually what happened. Somebody tried to lowball and they got caught, and they wound up offering way too much for the card.
Yeah, there's always outliers. When people are negotiating prices, especially on Twitter and stuff, they always take the highest one. But you gotta, at the same time as a sell, you gotta also consider the lower ones too, because they count.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, those are usually people that are desperate for money, the sellers. And that's the whole thing. That's for me, whenever there's best offer, I will look at the comps, and let's say the comps are $100. I'm offering $60. I'm going to try to get in there at less than what the card comps for to see if somebody's going to accept it, or to see if somebody will negotiate with me and then come back and say 90, and then I can say 70, and then we meet somewhere in the middle, and I'm still getting the card for less than where it comps at. Don't ever be afraid to offer less. The worst thing a kid says is the offer is rejected, and then you just offer more. But just always make sure you look at your comps and never just throw out an offer without figuring that out.
I screwed up the other day on Twitter with that.
Oh, what'd you do?
A couple weeks ago. I had a card. The comps he was asking for more than the comps, but it was a hot card, hot player. And pro tip, if it's not that much overpriced and you want it, just go buy it. But so I offered the comp, the highest comp at the time. And obviously he said no. And then obviously I got the nasty DM 2 days later. Hey, I sold them all. but it was it's on me. I should have just bought it.
Yeah, I mean, with guys, with people, if you're dealing with people on Twitter that you may have some sort of relationship with, you don't want to be a dick and like offer half the value of the comp. But at the same time,
it was the highest available comp.
Yeah. I mean, but at the same time, you're dealing with guys on eBay. Who cares? Like, you're never going to meet these people. You don't know who they are. Just offer, try to get a negotiation point going so that you can get the card as low as possible. The other thing I want to, tell people about is, there's a lot of options on the left-hand side in eBay when you're looking at stuff, card attributes over here. So you can make use of these too, especially when you're looking for certain cards, rookie, serial number, short print, and then also the other big thing that you need to be aware of, if you are looking at, certain higher value cards, make sure they're authentic, make sure they're not, reprints, make sure they're not, facsimiles or however else people list it. There are people out there that are trying to sucker new buyers with selling copies of these things and, trying to get people to buy. Yeah, my last point is if you're going to buy older cards, vintage cards, buy graded, vintage cards, if you're buying them online, you can't see some of the damage, you can't see some of the corners, you can't see some of the stuff that may be screwed up. So just buy graded, even if it's graded low, especially with vintage, at least the condition is guaranteed, unless you're going to get a heck of a deal. But there's been a lot of fakes and it's dangerous, as far as just you may lose your money. You got anything else on the eBay front?
Ooh, I got some tips and tricks.
All right. Tips and tricks.
That's rough. No, just some other things for when you're buying on eBay is Like I personally try to stay away from buying on Sunday and Monday nights. Those are
Oh
well-known
yeah, good one.
volume nights where everyone's putting their stuff up and everyone and their mother's bidding. So I think things just tend to go a little higher, especially some of the hotter items on those nights.
Yeah,
Um,
pretty sure there are definitely statistics out there. I think it's like 15 to 20% as far as the auction prices closing at night, and then especially on Sunday nights. So if you can find somebody that is dumb enough to end an auction, Tuesday at 11 o'clock in the afternoon, jump on that because you can usually get it for cheaper.
oh yeah, I look up all the time auctions ending at 7, 8 in the morning.
Yeah.
Or on my way to work at 4 or 5 a.m. Like they're out there, they exist, and I just make sure I throw them on my list and you hop on them because usually no one's bidding against you. You just got somebody they put in their max bid on you, then so be it. But I always look for time of day listings to my advantage. That's on the seller. They're not doing the best they can to get eyeballs on it. Well, I'm going to capitalize on it. Also on
And
that front, I only search sometimes if I'm in a mood. I only search free shipping.
okay. Yeah, that's another thing too, as far as being
And it,
able to
and
save
it,
some money.
Yeah, and it limits my search results sometimes, but I still find gems there. And if it's an unpopular thing, I'll search Adam Dunn free shipping cards. Someone starts it at 99 cents. It's a nice card. I'd pay a couple bucks for it, but no one's hitting a bid on that thing. And now I get it when I don't got to pay 350 on it too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So
And
so
for
go
those of
ahead.
you who are looking to get reminders about sports cards, we've got a shameless plug for you. Sports Card Advantage has its own reminder tool for your auctions. Go to sportscardalarm.com and you can copy and paste your link to your eBay to the eBay auction and then set it to send you a text reminder or an email reminder 2 minutes all the way up to 30 minutes before the auction ends. A lot of times you get that reminder 15 minutes before the auction ends and you get sidetracked and lose, you don't get in on the auction because you forget. So
I put my phone down.
yeah,
I get the eBay reminder if whatever it is. I think if you've bid on it, you get a 10-minute reminder, and if you're watching it, you get a 15-minute reminder. And there's
yeah,
only so long you can sit there and look at it. I'm chasing kids around, I'm chasing a dog. You put it down and you just forget. I look away so much. I'm like, God damn it, I forgot.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, use sportscardalarm.com, put it in there. It'll buzz your phone 2 minutes before the auction ends and you can just watch it and then, get in on what you need to do.
Couple other buying tricks on eBay. Sometimes, depending on a weird, funky name, misspelled names,
Yeah.
misspelled last names. Yeah, I've definitely found some things that don't pop up in the regular search function if you spell it weird. Now, it takes some time, but
Yeah.
Mark Teixeira was in the day was one of the big ones. People would butcher that name. You could always find some stuff on him cheap. I also like to search by newly listed because a
Okay.
lot of like when most people search and it comes up and it's got ending soonest. I always flip to newly listed because A, you'll find things that you can put on your watch list that you might miss at another time, and B, sometimes there's some buy it nows that are super attractive and you're just like, I don't know what this guy's thinking, but I'm buying this card.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, if you look at buy it nows and do your comp research, and if the buy it now is at or below comp, I mean, it's a good place to start, so you don't have to worry about the auction. What about Twitter? There's obviously a lot of marketplaces, Twitter, Facebook. Um, you know, walk people through how to be cautious when buying, basically from strangers, in regards to on Twitter or Facebook groups or anything else. Some of the
Well,
tips for PayPal and what to do in regards to goods and services and that kind of thing.
yeah, there's a lot there.
Well,
You just threw at me. So,
give us the
but
30-second
yeah,
elevator.
the 30-second version is I avoid Facebook. I don't go anywhere near Facebook as far as the hobby is concerned. The hobby is
The
concerned.
the business.
But as far as Twitter goes, there's a whole bunch of tight knit communities within the hobby on Twitter that you cross paths with someone you're not following, but they know 50 guys that can vouch for them. I think that's the key. You're worried about buying from somebody, you can do two things: you pay for goods and service, so you have some PayPal protection, buyer protection, and then as simple as it goes. Yeah, I see all the time. People are like, hey, this guy, I want to buy a car. Can anybody vouch for so and so? And then 10 guys and gals pop in and say, yeah, this guy's great. So there's plenty of ways to go about it to protect yourself. I mean, the worst thing you can do is somebody you don't know, no vouches, don't send friends and family.
Don't send friends and family. Don't send bank wire. Don't send crypto. Don't send anything other than, well, dude, if I was gonna scam somebody, I'd be like, yeah, pay me my $200 for this, LeBron rookie in Bitcoin. Yeah, I understand you're a curmudgeon old man who doesn't understand anything technologically relevant, but crypto would be, if I was gonna scam people, that's how I would do it. No crypto, no bank wires. Don't send checks. Don't send friends and family through PayPal. PayPal goods and services only. If they insist on something else, find it somewhere else, because you will, you have a potential of getting scammed and you won't get your money back. So just be very careful. Obviously, eBay affords you certain protections, but you're paying for shipping, you're paying for taxes, which can add 10 to 12% to an auction. So, just, be careful if you're going to go into Twitter or the Facebook groups. No problems buying there, but just, make sure you are aware of who you're buying from and use the protection that PayPal is going to give you.
I like it.
All right, we are moving on to our last segment before the Peanut Gallery, and this segment is going to be primarily me. We're going to do our little hot take for today. I'm going to rant again this episode. Today's hot take.
How many more Top Shots do you own?
Dude, don't even get me started on Top Shot. The RJ Barrett Top Shot that I bought for $70 is now worth $37. Exactly. Yeah. It's, I mean,
very weird.
I think the market will have value. I think it's going to crater and settle before it establishes it. The people that flipped and made a ton of cash have gotten their money out already. And now it's just a matter of, how Top Shot handles the saturation.
There'll be more peaks.
Yeah, 100%. But either way, so moving on. My hot take for this week is we have about 12 to 24 months of the business of sports cards operating the way it does before you will see some form of government intervention. Right now, there is zero government regulation of anything that's going on in the business of sports cards. And I think that it's only a matter of time before there is some sort of government regulation or some sort of certification or something that you're going to have to get in order to be a breaker or in order to be, involved in this. There is too much lottery aspect. There's too much game of chance here that it is, and there's too many people that are losing a lot of money. Like, you don't see the guy that has lost thousands and thousands of dollars on box breaks and didn't win shit and is now struggling. And I think there's too much of a gambling component. There's too much money that's being thrown around before somebody gets involved and starts regulating this, like you have the SEC that regulates trading markets and FINRA and, some of these organizations that are involved in this type of stuff. And, people advertise their businesses in the sports card world like, they're selling lottery tickets and dreams. And that is the main rule of any broker or anybody involved in the trading markets is, you can't portray this as easy wins. And that is how a lot of breakers and that is how a lot of people in this business portray their business and advertise their business. So I think that you will have some form of government regulation in the next 12 to 24 months. And I think that potentially could push out the smaller breakers. I think it could push out the guys that just, they can't afford it. You'll have the big breakers who get some sort of certification or have to pay something in order to be regulated or endorsed by whatever regulating body they have. And, it's going to happen. There's too much money for the government not to come in and get their piece.
Tax man's coming.
The tax man is coming. I mean, that's the statement. You know, the only certain thing in this world, there's death and taxes, and I think that there's just too much money getting thrown around. There's only to be more coming in that the government doesn't step in and try to regulate in some capacity.
Well, I for one hope nobody in the government has listened to you just now and gave them that idea.
Dude, I'm not. You telling me that I'm the only one that's talked about how much money's going on in sports cards? There's literally an article every day in mainstream media that talks about the money that's being made in sports cards.
Oh yeah, good point.
I mean, dude, there's an article in the Wall Street Journal yesterday about how a guy turned $175,000 into $20 million on Top Shot.
Oh, good for him.
Yeah, good for him. Fantastic, but you don't think that somebody in the government reads the Wall Street Journal and they're going to listen to our schlep ass with this podcast?
Well, he don't care. He sold them to some other idiot.
Yeah, he definitely did, but I'm just saying I'm not letting the cat out of the bag as far as the amount of money that's being made in this business.
Yeah. Well, I hope you're wrong, but nothing would shock me.
No, I mean, we'll see, and I definitely could be wrong, but I think it's bound to happen. I spent the better part of my adult life in the financial markets and had to deal with government regulation and all that bullshit and red tape that went with it, and I think that it's only a matter of time. Last but not least, we are going to take our question from the Peanut Gallery. This is a bit of a controversial topic, and I think it's going to need a little bit of explanation first, but, you walk us through. The question is, how much shill bidding do you think is going on, and is there any way to prevent it or not be a part of auctions where it is potentially happening? And, shill bidding is a very controversial topic in the business. And, why don't you give us a background or an explanation of what shill bidding is, and then we can, discuss, how prevalent and how often it's going on.
All right. So real quick, shill bidding is where you either have somebody bidding on your items for you, you have your own burner account, so whatever what it may be, they're bidding up your auction. So they're either putting in max bids or they are waiting to see how it's progressing, and they're just throwing extra bids in there because even if they win, money doesn't change hands and the card gets retained by the individual until he gets the amount that he was seeking.
Yeah, and
or she.
For the sake of this conversation, shill bidding 100% happens. I mean, it doesn't happen 100% of the time, but it is 100% going on on eBay every day. There are definitely people that do it, and they'll have their friends bid up their auctions, or there is a very popular consignment company who has been rumored to have shill bidders. We're not gonna drop any names because obviously we don't have any hard proof, but there's definitely one consignment company in particular that has been rumored to have shill bidders. It doesn't matter whether or not somebody has shill bidders or not. What you need to do in order to be successful with buying on eBay is basically do your research, know your comps, and know where your limit is. So if a card comps for $200, don't spend more than $200 on the card. Don't go all the way up to $300 and let somebody shill bid you all the way up. And, that's the beauty of eBay these days. The cards are available all the time. I mean, unless it's a super, super rare card, and in which case you're going to be paying through the nose no matter what, just wait for the next one. And whether or not somebody bids you up and you could have gotten the card for 160 instead of 200 and he bids you up to 180, it is what it is. There's no way around it. Just stick to your comps and don't get burnt by a shill bidder.
Yeah, it doesn't affect me one way or the other. I think that the biggest disservice is that is getting recorded as actual sales. So then it's you're screwing up the comps for prize. But you can see that there's always outliers. Whenever I see outliers on a comp, it's usually a buddy buying another buddy's card, and then the other buddy puts his card up the next day, and trying to take advantage of it. So look for your outliers, and to your point, know what you're going to spend, and it doesn't matter who cares. I mean, again, is shilling sucks, but what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I mean, there's so many things
be
out there
educated.
that people are just people are doing that fuck up the numbers. As far as anybody that gets a graded card back and cracks the case and then tries to resubmit it. I mean, that screws up the numbers, and shill bidding screws up. I mean, you have to go with the law of averages here. When you look at a card, the sales of a card, if everything's been selling for 200 and you have one thing for 300 and one thing for 100, like, throw those out and focus on the middle. But yeah, back to the shill bidders. Don't worry about it. Don't let it affect you, and don't waste your time trying to play detective and figure out who's doing it. You're never going to be able to prove it, and eBay's not really going to do anything about it. So do what you got to do. We're gonna wrap up for episode 3 here. Any final comments? Anything else you want to get out there?
The hobby is alive and well.
The hobby is 6 feet under. 6 feet under.
Boy.
The business has killed the hobby and has taken over.
Guy, we're gonna have a hobby segment now in each podcast.
Yeah, well, you're getting the outro music, and we're wrapping up for today. Look for the poll on Instagram, and we'll see what the people think.
You're gonna be wrong. The only people who are watching your poll will be the hobbyists.
Yeah, the business guy. It's all the business. My guys are gonna give you and your hobbyists the business. And we're out.